Where can you rent under $2,500 in Seattle neighborhoods where homes cost millions? I'm counting down 5 Seattle neighborhoods where median rents stay below that mark while typical home values clear 7 figures, ranked from number 5 to number 1. The rent versus buy gap in these places is huge. Median rents run roughly $1,800 to $2,200, while median home values sit above $1.1 million. That does not make renting risk-free, because rent builds no equity. Lease renewals can reset higher, and rental inventory can be thin in mostly house-heavy areas. But if the question is where a renter can access some of Seattle's priciest residential settings without a 7-figure purchase, this is the countdown. Number 5 is University Village. Zillow's May 2026 rent and home value estimates put the median rent here around $2,159, while the typical home value is about $1,145,570. That works out to roughly 44 times annual rent, which is a striking gap for a neighborhood near Union Bay, Ravenna Creek, and the open-air University Village shopping district. Walk Score rates the area at 92, so the daily convenience is part of the appeal. University Village is not just a shopping name on a map. It sits in a pocket where retail, trails, campus edges, and water-adjacent green space all press close together. A renter paying under $2,500 can be near grocery runs, coffee stops, bookstores, and the Burt Gilman Trail Corridor without buying into a market where the median home value is already beyond $1.1 million. The trade-off is that this area's rental options may not feel endless, so the math can look strong, while the actual search still takes patience. Number 4 is Madrona. The median rent is about $2,137, while the median home value tops $1,201,585. That puts the price-to-rent ratio around 47 times annual rent, with Lake Washington just down the hill at Madrona Park Swimming Beach. Madrona's commercial strip, leafy side streets, and shoreline access give this one a very Seattle kind of contrast. Modest rent, by the standards of this countdown, surrounded by million-dollar home values. Madrona's strength is the way it links neighborhood-scale streets with direct access to the lake. You can talk about Madrona Park, the beach, and the slope down toward Lake Washington without needing to add invented commute claims or hype. The core point is simpler. Renting here can place someone near a setting where buying later would likely mean entering a 7-figure home market. And because the median rent is still under $2,500, the monthly gap between renting and owning is especially clear. Number 3 is Seward Park. This is the lowest median rent in the countdown, at about $1,831, while the median home value is about $1,165,214. The setting is anchored by Seward Park itself, with its old-growth forest peninsula pushing into Lake Washington. The walk score is 46, so this is less about dense door-to-door convenience and more about park access, shoreline, and a residential feel, with a very large rent-to-home value spread. Seward Park makes the theme obvious because the rent number starts with an 18, while the home value still starts with $1.1 million. That gap is the reason it ranks this high. A renter can be near one of Seattle's signature green spaces and Lake Washington shoreline without taking on the purchase price implied by the surrounding housing market. The honest note is that lower walkability can mean more planning for errands, and rental inventory in areas like this can be limited compared with denser apartment corridors. The park itself is a major part of the value story. Seward Park is not a small pocket park. It is a forested peninsula with water on 3 sides, trails, and views across Lake Washington. In many cities, access like that would be paired with luxury pricing on both the rent and purchase side. Here, the home market is still well over $1 million, but the median rent figure stays comfortably below the $2,500 ceiling for this episode. Number 2 is Montlake. Median rent runs about $2,087, while the median home value is about $1,445,444. That creates a price-to-rent ratio near 58 times annual rent, which is one of the clearest signs that renting and buying are telling very different stories here. Montlake sits by the Washington Park Arboretum and Portage Bay, giving it a rare combination of water, trees, and quick access to some of Seattle's most recognizable green spaces. Montlake's walk score is 72, so it lands between the high-convenience feel of University Village, or Madrona, and the quieter, more spread-out pattern of Seward Park or Windermere. The neighborhood's identity is strongly tied to the Arboretum, the Montlake Cut, Portage Bay, and the streets that connect toward the University of Washington area. For this topic, the key number is the spread, a rent around $2,087 versus a home value around $1.45 million. That is the kind of gap that can make renting look mathematically compelling, even while buying into the same area requires a much larger financial commitment. Montlake also shows why price-to-rent ratios matter. A 58 times annual rent ratio means the purchase price is not merely a little higher than the cost of renting. It is operating on a totally different scale. Of course, renting does not create ownership, and a future buyer would still face the seven-figure reality of the neighborhood. But for access to the Arboretum, Portage Bay, and Central Seattle connections at a sub-$2,500 median rent, Montlake earns its near top spot. Number 1 is Windermere. The median rent is about $2,159, while the median home value is about $1,903,164. That is the widest gap here, roughly 73 times annual rent, and it is the reason Windermere takes the top ranking. Add in Magnuson Park and Lake Washington shoreline nearby, and the contrast becomes even sharper. Under $2,500 in median rent, next to one of the highest home value numbers in this Seattle countdown. Windermere's walk score is 29, so this is not the pick if the story is stepping out the door into a dense commercial grid. The story is space, shoreline proximity, and proximity to Magnuson Park, with home values approaching $1.9 million at the median. That makes the rent number stand out even more. A renter is not buying equity, and a lease can change at renewal, but the monthly cost is still dramatically lower than what the ownership market signals in the same area. What pushes Windermere over the top is the combination of the price gap and the setting. The rent figure is tied with University Village at about $2,159. But the home value is far higher, creating the strongest rent versus buy spread in this episode. In practical terms, buying later in Windermere would mean planning around a seven-figure budget, and not just barely seven figures. Renting under $2,500 near Lake Washington and Magnuson Park, while the typical home value is near $1.9 million, is exactly what this countdown is about. Quick recap. Number 5, University Village. Number 4, Madrona. Number 3, Seward Park. Number 2, Montlake. And number 1, Windermere. In Seattle, renting can buy proximity to seven-figure streets without committing seven figures. Every number in this video is sourced. Links are in the description.
Which neighborhood would have made your top 5?
Tap like, subscribe for more city rankings, and tell me what topic you want next.